Dawn will come, unseen by our eyes, but generations will follow us. Yes, there will be blood and suffering. There is with every birth. But every birth is also a triumph of hope. The science says that humanity can rise out of this. And so does my heart. Life will prevail. I took a little bit different approach on this. I look around this room and I see maybe 4 people who will see how the climate change thing turns out. Look around. 50 years out, that's the cutoff. If we haven't got the carbon under control by that time, the water vapor will be at such a point that the rain cycle, the precipitation cycle will be broken. The water will rise, it will not fall. And a whole bunch of the peers of the 4 people who will see that are going to die if that happens. So, how do you handle that when you're talking to poets? I have a wide network of people I talk to globally because I write a little different. I like form, I like meter and rhyme. And I spent my life on social justice causes, so I don't do a lot of that in my poetry. I think the best thing we can do on almost all of our problems except elections is to teach our children that they are going to be responsible for the outcomes too. That they're going to be responsible to live with them. And then turn them loose on the rest of us to straighten our butts out. I submitted 2 poems to this, and they were both accepted, and I'm grateful and a little embarrassed because they don't have much to do with current politics. A third of America voted for Donald Trump enthusiastically. The same third still votes for him. They still support him in the polls. Slightly more than a third, 3 million people more, voted for somebody else and lost in the Electoral College because the third who voted for him live out in cow country. And they don't care about cities. They don't like cities. And that's where most of us live. That's fixable. I've did political organizing all my life. Go out and knock on the doors, you'll win. Don't go out and knock on the doors and you'll lose again. So, talking to some friends in Africa and South Carolina who are friends themselves and poets, one of them was talking about the extinction of life on Earth in our lifetimes, and I said, no. Snowball Earth didn't kill everything, and the Cretaceous meteor didn't kill everything. You're not talking about extinction, you're just talking about major changes. And he said, well then, okay, intelligent life. And I said, no, the rat will rise to fill our place. And he said, that sounds like a sestina coming. And I said, yeah, I'll even rhyme it. The United Warren Commission on Global Cooling, in the year of our Alpha, 2017, translated from Modern Rodentia by Pfau. Our great Warrens now rule all this place where humanity, in its discordant angst and zeal, tore the other, faith or race, religion, even grammar, in mordant frenzies which left just dead in states of grace, to feed the last earthly worm and rodent. And we, the new rulers, mighty rodent, sprang into a fevered struggle to place, by cooperation and discordant strife, lovely centaurt in a frantic race against burning heat left by mordant monkeys. We peed forth with both style and grace. Oh yes, we all know this, but by your grace I rise to speak of both worm and rodent history, how we came to form this place by breeding worms, both kinds, reigned discordant, high-spirited tracers, which we now race, and feeders eaten alive and mordant. Now readers, stop. Consider the word mordant. Does it not add a certain genteel grace to my extinction tale of the rodent savants rise from ashes to take our place? Good. Now back to our speaker. Discordant voices rise on this discordant voices on this threaten our very race. Against this cooling, we could lose our race and restore carbon's role, and sirs, mordant jests like hot enough for you lack both grace and wisdom inherent in rodent. Listen, O whiskered wise, Think of the place ice at the poles puts us. It's discordant with centuries' records, and discordant too with common worm sense. We're in a race against time. The ice covered both mordant and wise before. We were saved by the grace of that surprising warming which rodent rose from and ended humanity's place. A twisted wormish race, dull, discordant, could rise past rodent without saving grace from our remains mordant to rule our place. I think it's important that we remember that what we are experiencing right now, the totality of our lives, for me from 1949 to at least another minute or two, is a blink of the moment in time. There is time, and the need now is to come together, not find new ways to separate, but to come together, because humanity as a whole either addresses this, or we are at best back to chipping flint, which I'm teaching my grandchildren how to do. The second poem in this was somewhat on the same theme. What life does is expand into the niches available. From the first bacteria, maybe algae, who knows which came first, probably algae, and probably it happened under the surface of the earth, to the glory of us, has been a process of life struggling to fit the niche and survive to produce. Which is why the children are where we should be aiming. We're done reproducing, right? Okay, they're not. Give them a shot. This is called Fly Like the Wind, Elsa, and it has an epigram, born free as the wind blows. Sing warmly of a time we'll be rotting slop, corpses from here to horizon's emptiness, when every chordate's dead, a silent rest stop, when every worm lies stained, still and motionless. The sea's jellies, sponges, corals, float dissolves in soups of dead cephalopods and fish, lifeless. Imagine all trees and grasses have devolved to ash and mulch, prostrate below secular human and divinity's last acts, resolved. Then life will only be unicellular. It will feed on our temporary remains, dine upon our greatness, now molecular. Our last songs, faded and forgotten refrains, will not matter to sunshine or passing moon over sullen seas and newly vacant plains. Bacteria will rise to sing the new tune, whirling by flagella and cilia's thrash in complex dance we once thought to be jejune. They will emerge up from the wettest of trash, to roam the world in new forms we'll never see, on their own adventures from timid to rash. Through forests of plankton, risen from algae, yes, each will feed, mate, and evolve in frenzy. We will not kill all life, we'll just set it free. This isn't in the book, but I'm going to read it anyway, because I really like it, and I think it's germane to our considerations. Voids. There comes a time dressed in ninja stealth, while walking woods off the evening path to hear the sounds of blood and gold crackling underfoot, and see black branches laced bare above, when the slow creep of coming dark pounces on the music of birds' last songs. The road behind is now a memory. You stand alone in that falling of light and fading forms surrounding your center. Daylight's breezes, once crisp enervations, now shift to coming winter wind. All crunch below you is gone. Your feet are motionless. The unknown dances, imaginative snappings and rattles through the night's hooded cape. Ebony emptiness around your head. Choose. Wait for day. Perhaps even moonshine. Or take the smallest blind steps, reaching out to hints of shape. With either, mind the voids. Thank you.